The dog most likely to bite is not a German Shepherd, it's not a Rottweiler, it's not a Cane Corso, it's not even the little yappy dog that's always barking like a Chihuahua. It's actually a nervous, fearful dog, and most people completely miss it. Now, I work with aggressive and reactive dogs all the time. Dogs with extensive bite histories. Dogs whose behavior is commonly described as unpredictable. Their behavior comes out of nowhere. I've even worked with multiple dogs who have been scheduled to be euthanized because of their bites. And I'm telling you right now, those bites did not come out of nowhere. And they weren't even the dog's fault. People just had no idea what they were looking at. So let's talk about why dogs actually bite. We'll talk specifically about 5 major reasons and what people are doing that actually cause dogs to bite. Reason number 1, these dogs fly completely under the radar. The most dangerous dog is almost never the dog that's the loudest. It's the quiet, nervous, unsure, and insecure dog. The one that's avoiding everything, the one that is freezing up all the time, or the one that's just completely shutting down. People will often think those dogs are calm, or they're fine, or there's nothing really wrong with them. No, that's not the case. That's clear signs of dogs that are actually really uncomfortable. And when discomfort builds with no way out, that's when bites happen. Reason number 2, people completely misunderstand dogs' body language. Dogs are constantly communicating with us. The problem is that most people don't understand their language. Before any bite, dogs usually give multiple warnings. These warnings could look like lip licking, yawning, turning away, disengaging altogether or trying to, walking away entirely, whale eye. The dog's eyes get really, really big and you start to see the whites of their eye. These are all different ways of your dog trying to say, I'm really uncomfortable right now. But again, like I said, most dog owners don't even understand that this is communication. This is your dog trying to communicate their discomfort. So they ignore it unintentionally, or even worse, they move closer or they continue on with the interaction or whatever they're doing that's making the dog uncomfortable in the first place. So now the dog escalates. You'll see a growl, a snap, or even a bite. And this is not because the dog is aggressive. This is not because the dog wanted to bite. This is because the dog felt it had no other option because its communications prior were just not being heard or understood by the owner. Be honest, have you ever seen a dog that you thought looked calm, but maybe now you're realizing it might have been uncomfortable the entire time? Let me know in the comments. Reason number 3, people constantly are putting their dogs in bad situations. Now, this happens all the time, and most of it is unintentional, but it still happens every single day for dogs all around the world. For example, somebody comes over, the dog is nervous, and instead of creating structure and space for that dog so that it doesn't feel forced into interaction, they let the dog bum rush the door with really high arousal, either excitement or fear. They let the dog greet the person at the doorway in very, very close proximity, very close quarters. And that is the worst possible setup that you can have for an anxious, nervous, or fearful dog. Tight spaces plus high arousal equal horrible decisions. In those specific moments, dogs will enter into fight, flight, or freeze. Because the space is often pretty tight, they don't feel like they have the ability to move away or flight. They will often freeze at first and kind of try to assess a situation really quickly, but most often they don't feel like they have any other choice but fight. And that is where so many bites happen. If that sounds like you or you're guilty of doing that before and your dog has made a bad decision in that moment, don't feel bad. We all make mistakes. I used to make that mistake too. The key is getting better, improving from our mistakes. So now that you know better, you have to do better. Your dog is asking you to do so. Reason number 4, people force interaction way too soon. This is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make with a nervous or fearful dog. People will try to become that dog's best friend right away. Again, intentions are pure, but we have to start understanding how to read these dogs appropriately and set them up for success. People will immediately try to baby talk.
No, it's okay, baby. It's okay. I'm your best friend.
No, we don't want to do that. That is an easy way to make an insecure dog even more insecure and really start to be weirded out by you. Most people in their life don't talk to them like that. Baby talk is not beneficial. People have to stop doing that altogether. People will try to reach their hand out and typically offer the dog a chance to smell their hand. Dogs have amazing sense of smell. They don't need you to put your hand in front of their nose for them to smell you. They smelled you before you walked in the house. They smell you when you enter. They don't need your hand in their face. All that's doing is putting more direct pressure on them, and that's more likely to get you a bite than anything else you're gonna do. Some people will try to pet these dogs directly, and a dog that is anxious or fearful or shaking, any of these things, these are dogs that don't want human interaction right then in that moment. Doesn't mean that that's not something that you can achieve down the road, but it's not something in that moment that's gonna do you any better. Giving an anxious, insecure dog pets, even if they tolerate it, is never the right idea. You're going way too fast. It's very common that people will try to give treats directly to the dog too, by handing the dog a treat to its face. Again, for an anxious and insecure, fearful dog, this is not what you think it is. Again, your intentions are pure. I know you're just trying to create positive association, but it's not sending the message that you think. It's not that you can't use food to create positive association with guests. There's just a much better way to do it, and I'm going to tell you about that in just a little bit. And last but certainly not least, and especially for our anxious, insecure little ones, people will try to pick that dog up to comfort them. Please stop doing that. All you're doing is begging to get bit. And then the dog snaps or lands a bite, and people are like,
Whoa, what happened? That behavior completely came out of nowhere.
no, it didn't. This behavior did not happen out of nowhere. Think about it from the dog's perspective. They're thinking, I don't know you. I don't trust you, and now you're trying to get real close and personal from me. You've probably rejected all of my other warning signs. I've got no other choice but then to escalate my behavior to get you to stop. If you have an anxious or a nervous or a fearful dog, something you need to realize sooner than later is you need to be your dog's biggest advocate. You need to be able to set boundaries for people to set them up for success. Have you ever had somebody try to approach your dog or even pet your dog or do any of the things I mentioned above? How did your dog respond? Let me know in the comments. And last, reason number 5, too much pressure, not enough space. Now, this is honestly what most bites come down to. There's way too much pressure put on the dog, not enough space for them to be able to handle it appropriately, and that's where bites are really cultivated. Dogs in these situations feel trapped, they feel pressured, and they feel like they have to escalate their behavior in order to create space. Now, like I mentioned before, there is a better way to use food to create a positive association for our nervous and our fearful and our insecure dogs. And instead of handing it directly to the dog, giving it to your guests, or you giving it to a dog that you don't know, toss it away from you. Take the pressure of enjoying the snack off the dog by giving it to them directly, by putting your hand directly in their face, and toss it away from you. Toss it away, let them go and get that from you without direct pressure of having to take it directly from you. Now, playing treat and retreat has a couple of great benefits. It allows our dog to enjoy their favorite treat from the new person from a distance, where they don't feel like they have to interact without any pressure. It also lets them decompress from the moment. So instead of having them bum rush the door, you can toss it away where they're going over there to decompress, come down from the moment, and then if they want to, they can choose to come back for more. See, this way, instead of forcing interaction on them, we're giving our dog the ability to choose whether they want the interaction altogether. This is an incredible way to build trust in these moments without the pressure of having to interact. As always, let the dog come to you instead of the other way around. Now, let me be clear. We don't want an anxious, a fearful, an insecure, a nervous dog to be meeting people right away anyways. Those dogs should be leashed off. They should be gated off. They should be crated away. We definitely don't want them approaching guests as they come into the home. Let me be clear on that. Once your dog is in a calmer headspace and you're ready to have them try to interact with people, this is when you can start playing that game. It's more about letting the dog come to the new person instead of forcing the new people onto the dog. Bonus reason number 6, people do not understand thresholds. Dogs have a threshold for what they can tolerate. Once they cross it, they're no longer thinking clearly. They're no longer being rational. They are just being reactive. That's not where I want my dogs to be making decisions. If your dog is tense, if they are fixated, if they are completely uncomfortable, and you keep pushing them and pushing them closer and closer towards their line of threshold, they're eventually going to cross it, and then all bets are off on what decisions they're going to make in that moment. In conclusion, bites are absolutely not random. That is so never the case. They are built And they are built pretty quickly sometimes when there is miscommunication, too much pressure, bad setups, and a lack of understanding of dog body language by all the people involved. I'll leave you with this. I've worked with a ton of dogs that have an extensive bite history. Some that people had completely given up on. Some that were literally scheduled to be euthanized, like my guy Kale that I've talked about in previous videos. And then when you actually look at what happened and what happened in the moments of those bites, you really start to realize they're not random. No bite comes out of nowhere. Every single bite has context. Most dogs that have a bite history are not actually aggressive. They didn't want to bite and they didn't just decide to bite out of nowhere one day. They were put in situations that they couldn't handle and they were just misunderstood. Dog bites are no different than anything else I talk about on this channel. It's not the dog's fault. People need to do better. We need to do better in understanding our dogs, how they actually communicate so that we can set them up for success. Learn how to read your dog. Learn how to create space for your dog when they need it. Learn how to set up situations where your dog can be successful. Because at the end of the day, most dog bites can absolutely be prevented. If this changed how you view dog behavior at all, like the video, drop a comment, let me know. I'd love to hear it. As always, if you want someone that's going to tell it to you straight, exactly what you need to do to be better for your dog, subscribe to the channel. I'm the Big Dog Guy, and I'll see you in the next one.